Good morning everyone, today we're going to be talking about the limited time quest because this time the LTQ is actually worth farming for. But before we jump into all of that, if you're new to the channel, I upload NGS content daily, so if you do play this game, I would really appreciate a subscribe as it really helps out the channel. Anyway, without further ado, let's begin the video. So the very first thing I want to talk about is, of course, what on earth is the new limited time quest. So as we can see right here, there is Drill Unidentified Region X2048. Now, the main reason why this is such a great farm is because, first of all, yes, there is a chance of getting the Wingguard weapons, but, you know, those are ultra rare. There is a chance of getting Stasis armors. These drop fairly often, but the Grand Dreadkeeper 1, this is an amazing drop, even though it doesn't drop as often as I would like it to drop, but it does drop often enough where it kind of encourages you to keep farming this. Now, on top of that, we also have the Mars Updater as well as add preset skills level 1. So, you know, Mars bars as well as the preset skills, like, sure, it's great to have, but it's not that big of a deal. However, the main reason why this limited time quest is worth farming for is because of the Dreadkeeper 5s, Dreadkeeper 4s, as well as the Grand Dreadkeeper 1s. So as you can see over here, I did around 10 runs yesterday, and I was able to get 4 Grand Dreadkeeper 1s, as well as 45 Dreadkeeper 5s, and 57 Dreadkeeper 4s. So remember, you can always upgrade your Dreadkeeper 4s into Dreadkeeper 5s, and then use the Dreadkeeper 5s in order to craft the Grand Dreadkeeper 1s, and then use those to upgrade into Grand Dreadkeeper 2s. So Grand Dreadkeeper 2 is going to be your final goal, as that is currently one of the best in slot augments available in the game. However, do understand that not everyone uses Grand Dreadkeeper 2s, so, you know, the demand is a little bit shaky. Sometimes, you know, it sells really well, it sells really easily. Other times, it's a little bit harder to sell because, you know, some people, for example, Slayers, they don't really care about Grand Dreadkeeper 2s. It's because they don't need the floor potency since they're critting all the time. So that is something that you do need to keep in mind. And on top of all of this, since it is so easy to now obtain a bunch of these Dreadkeepers as well as Grand Dreadkeepers, the prices of Grand Dreadkeeper 2 has crashed. So as we can see over here, this is the Grand Dreadkeeper 2 prices. It used to be 5.3 million. This was the average price. We click in and you can see that the going price right now is 3 million. Now, I don't know if the prices are going to continue to go down or not, because basically once the servers went live, the original prices of Grand Dreadkeeper 2 was hovering at about 8 million. It very quickly crashed to 5 million and crashed again to 3 million. So, you know, the prices have gone down significantly, almost by 1/3. So I don't know if the prices are going to continue to go down or if it's going to stabilize at 3 million. Nevertheless, what I recommend players to do is to just farm up as many as you personally need. I would avoid buying this stuff on the market unless, of course, you really want to and you just don't have time to play the game, or you just don't want to play the game. You can just buy these off the player market since they are now 1/3 of the price of what they used to be, so significantly cheaper. However, for me personally, and what I recommend for players who are actually playing the game most of the time, I would recommend people to just farm up your own Grand Dreadkeeper 2s, because that way you just save a lot of Meseta, a lot of money, but it does require you to do a little bit of dual quest. Now, the reason I say this is because the Grand Dreadkeeper 1 prices have fallen significantly. You know, they used to be 1.1 million, and now they are at 620,000. This will probably continue to go down as more people realize that the limited time quest is actually really nice for farming these Grand Dreadkeeper 1s, because remember, in order to make Grand Dreadkeeper 1, it does require 10 of your Dreadkeeper 5s as well as 10 of the Iris Fusias, which require you to farm dual quest. And, you know, this dual quest in particular is kind of a pain in the ass. I personally don't really enjoy the boss fight for this one in particular, but you know, you have to farm for it in order to craft these Grand Dreadkeeper 1s. But as many of you guys have realized, the limited time quest itself does drop Grand Dreadkeeper 1s that are fully built already. So basically, you can just keep farming here to get a bunch of Grand Dreadkeeper 1s, and then bring it to the item lab, go to Augment Capsule, and straight up just craft Grand Dreadkeeper 2s. As you can see, all it requires is 5 Grand Dreadkeeper 1s, 10 Foundia capsules, as well as any of the doable 5 capsules. So this does not require you to farm dual quest at all. So this is actually super nice, because I know a ton of people really hate dual quest and they just don't don't want to invest into the gear to farm dual quest at all. And well, if you just farm for the Grand Dreadkeeper ones and you just get them from a drop, or if you just buy them off the player market, you can straight up skip the entire dual quest grind and just straight up start crafting your Grand Dreadkeeper 2s, which is definitely really powerful if you're playing any other class except for the Slayer, because as I said before, Slayers don't really need all of this potency floor increase since, well, you're going to be critting all the time, and when you crit, well, then floor potency doesn't matter at all. But if you are playing any other class, you know, I do recommend Grand Dreadkeeper 2. It is a very powerful augment, does give you that massive 40 HP, 4 PP. The potency is a little bit on the lower side, you know, at 3.25%, but it definitely makes it up with this massive 6% potency floor increase as well as the 1% damage resistance. So, you know, it's really up to you, but personally, I do put a lot of value in Grand Dreadkeeper 2. And to further prove my point, as you can see, all of my armors do have Grand Dreadkeeper 2 over here, my second piece also Grand Dreadkeeper 2, and my third piece another Grand Dreadkeeper 2. So I'm just showcasing over here that I personally use Grand Dreadkeeper 2. Now another item that also drops from the limited time quest, but they don't show it in the featured loot, is of course the Exelio weapons. As you can see, I got an Exelio daggers as well as an Exelio rifle, so that was really nice as well. Now circling back to the limited time quest, I highly recommend people to take advantage of this week in particular to farm the limited time quest. Well, first of all, I think this limited time quest will actually go away with the coming maintenance, so you know, you've only got 1 week to take advantage of this. However, on top of that, there is also the rare drop rate plus 100% campaign boost going on right now. So just by going in here, you automatically get a baseline of 100% RDR. Then, you know, you've got your mag boost, your food boosts, as well as all the other RDR boosts that you can stack on top of this 100%. And on top of all of that, remember, PSO2 day is just around the corner. Once that comes in, you get an additional 100%. So you're going to get 200% rare drop rate right off the bat, which is really nice. Now, I know some of you guys are like, Kero, you literally just told us yesterday that RDR is a lie and all of that stuff. Well, the thing is, RDR is a lie when the drop rate is 0.00001%. So for example, the Wingguard weapons, you know? So boosting a bunch of RDR in hopes for getting a Wingguard weapon is probably not the smartest idea. However, when it comes to slightly more common drops, such as the Grand Dreadkeeper 1s, as well as the regular Dreadkeeper 5s and Dreadkeeper 4s, well, the RDR definitely makes a big impact on those drops. So, you know, maybe if you ran in with just 100% RDR, you would get 1 Grand Dreadkeeper every 10 or 20 runs. But if you boost that RDR a little bit more, maybe you're running in with like 200%, 300%, well, maybe you're gonna get 1 in every 5 runs, 1 in every 6 runs, somewhere along that ballpark figure. But keep in mind that I am talking in a macro view, which means, you know, you're farming like hundreds and thousands of runs, then it will average out. Now, obviously, if you're incredibly lucky and, you know, you're a normal player and you're playing like, you know, 5 runs a day, 10 runs a day, you know, maybe you get super lucky and the 5 runs you do today, you get 5 Grand Dreadkeeper 1s. And another day you do 5 runs and you get nothing. You know, it's all RNG, but the rare drop rate does help a little bit when it comes to more common drops. So for example, like the Mars bars, for example, you're definitely going to get a ton of these with rare drop rate, or without rare drop rate, you're going to get a bunch of Mars bars because you already have this 100% boost. And then you stack on top of all of your other free-to-play boosts and you can get pretty close to 200% already. So, you know, you just rock 200%, wait until PSO2 day, boom, that becomes 300%. And yeah, you're going to get a lot of drops. However, at the end of the day, you do need to put in the time and the effort to actually farm this. And something that a lot of people tend to forget about is the more enemies that you personally kill in the limited time quest equals potentially more drops. I say potentially here because I'm not entirely sure. However, I did AFK 1 time because I was talking to chat and I didn't kill any enemies. When the LTQ ended, I didn't get any loot. So that's just some food for thought. I don't know why I didn't get any loot, to be honest, but I just didn't. So that might be one of the safeguards that Sega has secretly implemented, or maybe I've just never AFK'd enough to realize that maybe you do actually have to hit something. But that's something that I found out in yesterday's live stream. So in conclusion, this limited time quest is 100% worth farming for, simply because the loot is actually worth it and the drop rate is pretty reasonable. Now, of course, if you do boost up a little bit of RDR, you are going to see more success versus someone who doesn't have any RDR. So you can take that into consideration. And of course, you do have a chance of getting those Exelio weapons, even though they don't show it in the featured drop list.
Special thanks to all the members for supporting the channel. It really means a lot to me. Thank you again.
But yeah, that's all I wanted to cover in today's video. Hopefully you guys found it helpful. If you did, I would appreciate a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye.